Kiawentiio, so good to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Hello, so good to be here.
I mean, the scale of Avatar: The Last Airbender is so big, and it's finally coming out. And I feel like, with the scale being so big, preparing to play Katara and kind of go before you even film, that feels like kind of one big journey on its own. But does the whole kind of journey feel like one big journey with multiple steps, or does it feel like kind of separate journeys, preparing, then filming, and now it's coming out? How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of say it's broken up into a few different steps almost. It's kind of like different eras because I was 14 when I got cast and I was, 15 filming, so it was kind of quite a bit ago. So this era of the show coming out finally, it feels like a whole new like part of it, and I'm super excited and it's just been a long time coming and it's crazy.
And like a two-part kind of question, what was kind of the audition process, and what is it like kind of being able to play a character that we have seen before in other source materials? Because I always feel like that's a unique situation from a storytelling acting perspective as well.
Yeah. So the audition process, I actually told my agents when I found out that Avatar was even happening that this was like the thing that I wanted the most, and just keep your eye out for this. And if this ever comes up, like send it to me. I'm there. So it actually did end up coming up, and they sent it to me. And my agent actually called me, and she was like, "We have an audition for Avatar." And even then, I was like in tears almost, just to have the audition. So, yeah, we went back and forth with callbacks and chemistry reads, and I think it lasted it was pretty fast actually, like 2 weeks, like maybe like a month even.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then they told me the good news, and it's just been crazy since then.
And it's going to be coming out very soon. And it's interesting. You were on with the Eve, which was on Netflix and everything. So I feel like you can kind of when it gets launched into all these countries and people get to see it so quick after our last Airbender, do you feel like you were prepared a little bit with the E, or do you feel like you still have no idea what to expect when it drops?
I feel like my expectations are all over the place. I guess there's not really one thing that I'm expecting.
Mhm.
I'm expecting all the opinions and all everyone's reactions. But I can't wait for it even.
We are Team Waterbender here. We agree with that, right? It's Team Waterbender here.
100%.
Can you imagine being a waterbender at at a water park? The amount of pranks, like going down one of those slides, and all of a sudden you're going down a tube and it's just like all this water. Can you imagine
Yeah, I'd be in complete control.
what was it like on set with everyone? We're kind of seeing that everyone is like, a big family, so to speak. But like, any funny stories on set, with Ian, Gordon, Dallas specifically that you could share?
Um, what's coming to mind, I did spend a lot of time with Gordon because at the time we were both in school. So every time we do a school block, we would, go together. And I feel like that's where a lot of my bonding time with Gordon came from, was because of how much school we actually had to spend together. Um, but I mean, every time we were all together, like the three of us, like me and Ian and Gordon on like the Appa scenes, um, yeah, that brought us so much closer together too. But yeah.
Is there something about Katara you like the most? Because I feel like you look at a character like that, there's so much to love about this character. So I feel like it's
Mhm.
hard to kind of pick one or two, but is there something you liked characteristic wise, just like anything specifically that really stood out with this character?
Mm. I really admire how strong she is and how determined she is. Her will is something that you cannot break, and um, I feel like you can really truly see that as she is determined to become a master and to you know master her abilities.
Absolutely. There is a lot of kind of hype about this show. I feel like when I found out, even before you were cast, I was so excited for this show to come out and everything. What is something that you really are excited for people to see in Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix that maybe they're not talking about as much specifically? Because we know these worlds, but this is not, the series on Nickelodeon, the animated series. This is the show on Netflix, the live action. So what is something
Right.
you could say that like you're really excited for people to see that maybe people aren't kind of chatting about that much?
Honestly, I do think there's so much more depth that like within the characters. And I feel like that's something that people aren't really like gravitated to as much. I mean, compared to like some cool fight scenes, I understand that. But yeah, just the diving into each character and the depth of them
Mhm.
and what they've gone through and how just emotions read on camera on in a live action versus a
Yeah,
cartoon.
yeah, 100%. From an acting storyteller perspective, past projects, are they very separate? Because they're different worlds and different characters, but you look at, and with E, you look at film Beans you did. Do you take some like kind of stuff preparation, kind of mindsets from those projects to Avatar: The Last Airbender, or is it all kind of separate kind of like journeys specifically?
Mm. I feel like I feel like each project that I've done are very separate, like they're very in their own worlds. And I'd like to try to keep them that way. I feel like that's how I work.
Yep.
Um, I do feel like naturally I take things with me to this set and to this set, to this character, you know. Um, but I do feel like each each character that I've done has their own like aura and it has their own like genre,
Yeah.
you know. Um and Avatar is just it's a whole moment on its own.
It's a whole world. And that's a perfect segue to my next question. I mean, it's tough because I feel like for the most part, the answer to this question is no, because you're focused on the craft and you're just acting. But like knowing the landscape and the, scale, like we talked about, of Avatar: The Last Airbender, were you ever conscious of the audience member watching the show while you were filming it specifically? Or does that kind of happen a little after you wrap?
Um I think I think we were all pretty conscious of like some decisions that we were making and just the fan base of this show is very strong. So I think we were all aware of that. It's also a little it can be a little nerve-wracking at times to be tackling something like this with such a huge fan base,
Mm-hmm.
especially like being a part of that fan base before even being cast. I knew how important this was, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but yeah, I do think that I'm hopeful for
Yeah.
season 2 to get another chance to play this character and to just give what I have to it again, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Can we give a shout out to the crew of Avatar: The Last Airbender? Can we give a
Yes.
shout out? Let's give a shout out because it's incredible what this
Yeah.
show kind of looks like. It's amazing.
Shout out to all the crew members that were building those sets and that to just even the costumes. Oh my gosh, the costumes department.
Yeah. What was it
You
like?
did,
Because we saw the trailer, right? Like, what was it like? What was it like soaking it in and walking specifically through everything?
yeah. I mean, every time I got to see something new, it was like Christmas morning, you know, like just that like impact of seeing everything new and especially like seeing new characters. I remember the first time I saw Ty Lee and May and Azula like all together. Oh my gosh, I was like in tears. It's so wonderful. It's crazy.
I've interviewed Gray Delisle Griffin, who voiced Azula, like in the
Oh,
series, and that was super cool because she did the voice of Azula, and it was awesome. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool! But I can't wait for people to see Avatar: The Last Airbender, February 22nd on Netflix. So great chatting with you. Thank you so much, and all the best. Seriously.
yes, so nice to meet you, talk to you.
Yeah, Instagram is the best way for people to see all the updates coming up on Avatar: The Last Airbender. Right? They could follow you there.
Yes.
Awesome. And there's going to be a lot of updates and behind the scenes once it drops. Let me tell you.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. So next time it's Kiawentiio and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.